Hello everyone, and welcome hopefully again to another Grace Creative session. My name is Desiree and I'm the director of Grace. We're a nonprofit that serves trafficked, exploited, and at-risk youth ages 12 through 21. And right now we're doing our sessions online in light of the current pandemic. And this is, I believe, our 14th online session. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning how to make these yarn wall hangings. So I'm going to take you guys through the process of making one of these today. Grace Creatives is a program that is meant to provide therapeutic art alternative and teach coping skills to the girls in our program. And this video goes out to all of the girls in our program, and we're also making these available to the public on this YouTube channel. So if you would like to subscribe, you can click the subscribe button, and every time that we post a new video, it will show up in your subscription box, and we appreciate your guys' support. We're also doing a push this month for our Grace 2020 campaign. Grace 2020 is a campaign that we're doing to try to get monthly donors. In 2020, we are trying to get people to donate $20 for 20 months to help end human trafficking. If you become a donor, you'll actually get one of these handcrafted puzzle pieces. Here, I'll show you one a little bit closer here in a while. And if you sign up before August 31st, we are also going to give you another free promotional item in the mail after you sign up. So you can click on our website to subscribe to be a Grace 2020 donor. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the materials that we need in order to do this project, and then I'll get started with the first step. So over here to my left, the first item that you're going to need for today's project is just some assorted yarn. I have 3 colors here. You can do 1, 2, 3, 5 colors, however many you want, but I've just chosen these 3. You're also going to need a stick or a piece of driftwood. This is just driftwood that I found down at the beach. It's nice and smooth. This is a good piece because it kind of has the rounded corners and has been smoothed out and has a little indent in there, so it makes it a little artistic. And then over here to my right, I've got some assorted wooden beads. I've got a pair of scissors, and I have, this is jewelry making wire, but really any kind of wire that you have will be just fine. We're going to use the wire. The wire just needs to fit through the holes in your wooden beads, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing with that a little bit later. So yeah, go ahead and get your area set up, gather all your materials, and I will get started with the first step. So as promised, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys these cute little Grace 2020 puzzle pieces that we're giving out. These are handcrafted by the girls in our program, and they have our website, Grace 2020, and it's also a fridge magnet. So it's cute and it's functional. So we hope that you will consider becoming a Grace 2020 donor and helping to end trafficking in San Diego. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the first step of this project. So what you're going to need for the first step is to grab some of your yarn, as well as your scissors and your stick here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be just cutting one piece of yarn, and this is going to be used as kind of like a measuring stick for all of the pieces of yarn that we're going to cut for this project. So you're going to want to loop that yarn around the top of the stick like so, and figure out the length, kind of pull it down to however long you want it. You can go long or short. I like to at least start a little bit longer because I can always cut it later, but I can never make it longer. So I'm going to make this maybe in a little bit longer than I think I might want it to start, and then you just cut it. And then this one piece of yarn is what we're going to be using to measure out all of the pieces of yarn that we're going to need. So go ahead and get that one piece cut and I'll come back with the next step. For the next step of this project, we're going to need to cut roughly 50 pieces of yarn. And since we have 3 colors, we're going to need roughly 17 of each. So what you're going to want to do, just to save a little bit of time so you don't have to cut them one by one, is go around your house and find some sort of item that you can wrap the yarn around. I've been able to use this chair in the past to get the length, and when I wrap the yarn around these 3 legs, I get the exact length that I need. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna find an item like that. You can use like a cardboard box and just like spin the yarn around the cardboard box, or you can use a chair. You could even like wrap it around your arm. It's just something so you can get all the yarn gathered up into the length that you want. So for the sake of this project, I'm gonna go ahead and use this chair. I tied a knot around this one leg, and now I'm just gonna take the yarn and I'm just gonna wrap it around the 3 legs until I get 17, until I get 17 strands. And then I'm gonna cut it. So this might take a little while. You might have to go around the house and find something that has the length that you're wanting. If it's a couple inches longer or shorter, not a big deal. You can always cut it down later. But yeah, just keep wrapping this until you get about 17 strands. And I think I'm getting close here. I always count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And then you're gonna take your scissors. Just gonna take it to the edge where you first began. Just gonna take your scissors and just cut one of the edges here. And now you've got your 17 strands of yarn here. And you're gonna repeat that process with the 2 other colors as well. So hopefully you had some fun cutting your yarn pieces. When you're done, you should have somewhere between like 50 and 60 pieces of yarn here. And when you're done with that, you're gonna be ready for the next step. So what you're gonna need for the next step is just to grab your piece of driftwood, and you're gonna kind of think through a design or a pattern. I've done different designs where I've like alternated the colors, just like 1, 2, 3. But for this one, I think I'm just gonna do a chunk of each color. So I'm gonna start with the green and then work my way over. Now with these thinner pieces of yarn, just because they're so thin, I like to use 2 of them just so it takes less time, and I think it ends up looking a little bit better. So go ahead and grab, if you have this thinner yarn, grab 2 of them. And what you're gonna wanna do is you're just gonna loop those 2 around the top, and then you're gonna pull the ends through the middle here, and then you're just gonna pull them tight like this and scoot them over. So when they're on there, your loop is gonna look something like that. And then you're just gonna repeat this process. So just keep pulling, starting with the green here. So keep just pulling the green yarn. Again, you loop it around the top here so that you've got that opening, and then just pull that yarn through the center and pull it tight. You're gonna wanna line them up so that you end up with the same, with the tie being on the same side here. So it looks something like that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat this process until I have my whole section of green, and then I will come back with the next step. So when you're done with all 3 colors, it should look something like this. And again, you notice that the ties are all on the same side. I did end up having to cut a little extra white because I ended up about right here. So I had to cut an extra like 10 or 15 strands just to finish it out and really get the coverage that I need. But that completes most of the yarn that we're going to hang on this, but there's a few final steps that I'm going to walk you through. So the next step is going to be creating a way to hang this on the wall. So what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do it this way, you can use one piece of yarn, or you can even use like wire, whatever you really want to use to hang it, but I'm going to use yarn. So I'm going to take one strand of each color that I've got, the green, the white, and the gray, and I'm going to tie it around one of the ends here. I'm going to do kind of a double knot and put the knot around the back so it doesn't really show. And then after I've got that knot tied, I'm going to bring it around to the other side and do the same thing over here. Just kind of double knot those 3 strands. And then when you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and cut it so that you end up with a nice little topper there to hang it. So just take a couple minutes and do that, and I will come back with the final few steps. So for the next step of this project, what you're going to do is you're going to want to shape the bottom. So you can see with this completed one, I kind of did like a V-shaped pattern. So you're going to want to grab your scissors and find somewhere to hang this up. So when you look at it, I've got some different lengths going on and it just looks kind of funky here at the bottom. So you're going to want to think through like a shape or design. Some examples would be, you might just want to do like an angled design. You can do some zigzags. You can kind of follow the shape, but just kind of choose a design. So you might just want to do straight across. That's fine too. But just spend a few minutes kind of thinking through how you want the bottom of your wall hanging to look. And then you're going to hang it up and just grab your scissors and just, as if you're cutting hair, just kind of cut that line or whatever shape that you want in the bottom. So I'm going to take a few minutes to do that, and then I will come back with the final step. So when you're done with your trimming, your ends should be a little bit more even. If you're like me, you'll find this process to be oddly satisfying, just to like have those kind of sharp, even lines. I've decided to just kind of like follow the pattern of the wood and kind of did like a steeper cut down and then like a slower angled slope on that side, since that's kind of the natural shape of the wood there. But yeah, I'm gonna take you through the final step of this process, which is gonna be just to add some of these wooden beads into the yarn. So what you're gonna need now is to grab some of the jewelry wire that I gave you and just cut a strand of that wire, maybe like 6 or 7 inches. And then after you have that cut, you're gonna tie it up so that it looks kind of like a needle here. So I've got, if you look really closely, I've got like a loop on the top there. With the bottom, I've kind of twisted it around, and you're gonna use this to string the beads through. So now you're just gonna take some of these wooden beads, and we're just gonna kind of make a pattern in the strands. So you can use either like 1 or 2 strands of yarn. I think just to have this hold a little bit better, I'm gonna use 2 strands, and you're gonna string that yarn through the loop like this. And then after it's strung through, you're gonna stick that through the middle of the bead and just kind of string that through. And then you're gonna pull the yarn. So it's just like you're sewing, and when you're done, you'll have that nice bead kind of hanging there. And so now you're just gonna spend a few minutes kind of deciding the pattern, like if you want a pattern of wooden beads in your wall hanging. And after I've got mine done, I'll go ahead and show you my final product. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys my finished product here. I decided on this one to kind of stack my beads on top of each other. If you want some cool bead ideas, you can always Google or look up yarn wall hangings on Pinterest for some fun ideas. But yeah, that concludes our session for today. I'm super happy that you chose to join us for another Grace Creative session. Yeah, we appreciate your guys' support. Consider becoming a Grace 2020 donor by donating $20 a month for 20 months in 2020. And we will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks. God bless.